The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It is the final Friday, or it's the final Mick Shots of the month of February. It's a final Friday in February, and that means the
final Friday in February.
It's a fabulous football Friday, the final Friday in February.
That's about 6 F's. I've had 6 F's before.
Very nice alliteration.
And you know what that means? That means that the offseason is over.
Yes,
It's almost time for the new league year. It's the month of March, crazy, and things are about to pick up again. Did you have a good off season, Mickey?
I did.
Half of it was just the last 2 days in the house.
And I hate the off season, by the way.
You mean in the month of February?
And March and
I got
you.
April.
You mean the extended off
Yes,
season?
yes, because I mean, the stuff already starts, right? All the mashed potatoes being thrown at the wall. Hope something sticks. Don't need any facts about anything, right? All the talk about guys that are already free agents and they're not free agents, and half of them will get
who we gonna get rid
of
or
tagged.
And how many that are on a roster? I'm not talking necessarily this roster, but other rosters who are actually about to become free agents
that they don't know they're going to become free agents.
That's right.
And the only official thing that has started is the franchise tag season has opened.
All right.
On Wednesday?
Something like that.
Tuesday, I think it was. So, yeah, it's been a couple days. So, yeah. But, yeah, this is my least favorite time of the year.
Because of that stuff.
Because of all that
speculation.
Stuff. Yes. And you know, and it's there was a report. Well, no, it wasn't a report. It was somebody's opinion.
You know what? I'll tell you why it's one of my favorite times of the year, because this is the time of the year where
when you can spread conspiracy theories.
Well, that too. But this is the time of the year when a football team is put together. The team is not put together in training camp. You're just practicing plays in training camp. The team is put together starting now. Starting with the combine next week, and then you got free agency, and you got the draft, and all of that stuff. And as happened for the last 30 years in this league, ever since free agency began in this league in the early to mid 90s. You have a third of the team. A third of the team changes over from year to year, at least a third.
I don't see a big green notebook started yet.
I have started my big green notebook.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, but it really starts next week at the combine.
You talk about free agency.
And we are having a combine, by the way. They're not striking.
Okay. Nice.
That got cleared up in a hurry.
That got cleared up real fast.
Uh-huh.
So we were talking about, God, I forgot what the heck I was going to say. You cut me off.
Okay, we'll go.
Well, who cares about that? Here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Kenny Burroughs, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kenny Burroughs.
Passed away
yesterday. 73 years old, I think it was. Yeah, but he was diabetic. I used to see him every year in Atlanta at the Black College Hall of Fame. If I'm not mistaken, he's a Black College Hall of Famer.
He is.
And man, I look at some of his bio. Went to Raines High School. You guys ever heard of Raines High School in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida?
Yeah, I think I have.
It's a lot of star players that came. Well, LeRoy Butler being one of them that actually just made the Hall of Fame. If I'm not mistaken, did Bob Hayes go to Raines?
That doesn't sound right.
They have a rivalry with another high school down in Jacksonville, and
right.
He may have gone to the other high school. But you've got some great players went to that school. Kenny Burroughs was extremely unique wide receiver, especially for that time. 6'3", 215 pounds. And he could run like the wind. He was one of those guys, back in the day, and I played with a guy like this, they used to, part of their running style was a prance. Like the horses, they prance. He was so big, and he was like a big stallion. And boy, when he ran, I'm sure he ran 100 yards at the time. I'm sure he ran a sub 10 seconds, 100 yards. But, man, this guy was an amazing athlete. And when you talk about somebody that talked trash, just like Ron Springs used to talk trash, Boy, he had you cracking up all day long. He comes in, you can hear him coming in before you see him. That's just what kind of guy he was.
Sort of like Michael Irvin.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. But yeah, I guess that's Florida for you.
I think I saw he ended up third all time on the Oilers/Titans receiving. I think
could see that.
The only guy who had more was Ernest Givens, and there was one other. I don't remember the receiver. I remember reading it this morning. Yeah, he was.
So you read up on it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bob Hayes went to Gilbert High School in Jacksonville.
That would be their rival, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. They've got a Reigns has a great,
Well, Gilbert's now in middle school. That was, of course, before.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, that was
before civil rights.
There you go. But in fact, okay, so Kenny Burroughs would have. I'm lost my spot here. So he would have wrapped up his career when.
If I'm not mistaken,
I've got it
I
here.
played against
That's
this
what.
guy.
That was my next question.
Yes.
Is I was wondering. Okay, he through
That my
81.
last year.
81. Your
My
first year
was
his last year, 1981.
By
with
that
the
time, he
Oilers.
wasn't playing much. He was just kind of prancing on the sideline, talking trash, I'm sure. I would have liked to have talked to Warren Moon about him and see if
He did have 40 catches his last year and 7 touchdowns.
They'll let you know, man. 7 touchdowns his
His last year, yeah.
So he was, and it's so funny. We talk about Ron Springs. He was also afflicted with diabetes, and he was being pushed around a lot in a wheelchair those last years, but didn't stop his mouth from running. He didn't want anyone ever to feel sorry for him. He was proud to show up every time, every year, and it got so bad it was just like Ron. They had to amputate his foot, but that never. Put a dash on any of his spirit at all. So he was just one of those guys. You just had a joy to be around, and he wasn't belittling at all. It was just mainly bragging on himself. He didn't really talk bad about anyone else. Just talked about how good he was. So that was always fun to hear him talk.
00, Ken
Yeah,
Burrows.
last person to do that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The word.
Wow.
Yep. So he came a little
I'm sure
after
that'll come back.
Jim Otto.
That's got to come back.
Well,
right?
especially with the new
Yes.
Now
number.
with the
Come
number.
back now.
Yeah.
Somebody's got one to do
Somebody's
it.
going to have to do it. I mean, come on.
Yep.
In memory of Kenny.
All right. I know Mick. Oh, look at the legal pads.
dude,
He's got
it's too much,
multiple legal pads in front of him here. And so, Mickey, I'll let you start with
See,
the
where
first thing that
do
you
you
want.
wanna
I've got
start
something
with?
I want to get into at some point, but I'll let you, since it's called Mick Shots.
Let's start. Let's
Defer to
start
you.
here. We'll move into the free agency stuff. But do you realize? Today,
Yes, I do. Yes. Where were you 33 years ago today?
Yes,
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Tom Landry was
It's
fired, and
February-
Jerry Jones bought the team.
February
February
25th.
25th.
That was today?
25th.
February 25th,
33
1989.
years
I'm
ago.
surprised that wasn't shouted out on every TV station I was watching.
And I want to show you
Every February 25th, it's one of the first things I think of.
that I did my homework, and I found a copy of my story that I wrote that night. Landry's old friends feel sadness at the end of coach's reign. Talked to Gene Stallings.
Yeah, you
by the
talked to
way.
Gene Stallings.
Gene said, "I don't."
That was back in 1989.
89.
You're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's
The
Gene
story.
talking about?
The quote.
Talk to
he
me.
was-
What Gene say, man?
Well, at that time he was
Cardinals.
Arizona.
Yeah, he was with
Yeah.
the Cardinals.
Or
Phoenix. I think
Phoenix
it
at
was
that
the time.
point, whatever it was. He said, "I don't like to think of it in terms of Coach Landry being fired. I'd rather think of it as a man bought the team and wanted to put his own man in charge. Landry is too good a man to be fired." Talked to Ernie Stautner. He said he'd like to see Tom bring the team back. And even Jerry Rome, by the way, who, by the way, was the quarterback coach on that team. This is a tough situation
cool.
for
Jerry
me.
was cool.
Now, this is the funny thing, because I think we talked about this a little while ago, about when or at least I recounted the story in one of my either Mick shots or columns, when it came time for Jerry to decide who they were going to draft. Mm-hmm. But back then, you could sign. You had the first pick, so you could sign the guy ahead of time and not get into a John Elway thing or whatever, right? And so when they were trying to negotiate with Lee Steinberg for Troy Aikman's contract, they were going, well, I don't think this Mandrich guy, I think we might take him instead of Troy Aikman, right? They were just playing.
Oh, my God.
All right? But here's the quote from Jerry on – so this ran February 26th, so the next morning, and the quote from Jerry was, "We believe Troy Aikman is the greatest opportunity to come down the pike in a long time. There's no football player that Jimmy Johnson thinks higher of than Troy Aikman, because there was some thought that because of Jimmy from Miami, he would want Steve Walsh to be his quarterback."
And he did.
And he did. But Jerry said he's the best college player in the country, unquestionably. And then they tried to play this ruse later on to negotiate, like, oh, Lee, we may not draft him. So if you want to be the first pick in the draft,
Steve's my boy.
You gotta go ahead and take this contract. So anyway, I found that, and then look at this picture I got. When Jimmy Johnson came to town with Stephen Jones. Look what happens to folks in 33 years, right? And the rest of us, too, by the way, right?
Stephen was how? Oh, so he would have been how old about then?
Stephen?
How's he now?
He wasn't very
mid-20s.
How's he now?
Mid-20s, probably.
How is he now?
Well,
I'm going to say he was right out of college. He might have been 23, 24.
So he might be around 52
at the
now?
most. Yeah, because he had thought he was going into the oil business with Jerry, and
he was 24 then.
24. I was close.
Yeah.
So and it was funny.
So to answer your question, he's 57 now.
57.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, yeah.
So the funny thing was, I went back and
I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's good. Here we go. Go ahead.
I looked at the clips, and here's one of the headlines in the paper. It was from Pete Rozelle. It was a quote: "This is like Lombardi's death."
Wow.
Meaning Landry got fired.
That's very overly dramatic.
I thought that was a little over the top. This was
that's what. But Cowboys. There's a lot of Cowboys fans who felt like
that way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, including my sister.
There was another. There was another headline. Schramm eclipsed by Jones. Jones is in charge. And I saw this quote from Jerry. He said, "This is going to be my life," and he wasn't lying.
He was not lying.
He absolutely did it. And there was also. This came about, too, because we had found out at the last minute somebody else was trying to buy the team. Well, it was Don Carter, the owner of the Mavericks. And there was a headline.
The price is pretty cheap back then.
$140 million, right? He had that.
That's right.
So the headline was Don Carter made last-minute bid to buy Boys, and it didn't materialize. Jerry had a what do you call it, a consortium or a group together to help with the deal. And the night before, I saw the cat got out of the bag. Report Johnson replacing Landry. This was the morning of the 25th. Dallas Times-Herald, the Cowboys deal near with Landry. Cowboys deal near Landry liking to go. And we even got a hold of the AD at the University of Miami, Sam Jankovic. Remember him?
Yeah.
And he said he didn't know anything about a press conference coming up, but he confirmed that Johnson had talked to the Cowboys. So it was kind of cool to go back 33 years and read all this stuff. And my lasting memory of that night, more so than the press conference, was afterwards when we finished our stories, we retreated into Tex Schramm's office at the ranch, and there was a bunch of probably about 5, 6 of us, the writers in there. And, of course, he had beer for us, and we sat around shooting the bull. And
I know, like beer.
Beer. Not him, though.
Right.
Not him.
But still,
and we
not him there.
We were sitting, and we ran out of seats. I remember sitting on the floor next to Frank Luxo, who had covered the team since the 60s.
Hall of Fame voter.
And Frank got up. It was getting late. Frank got up and goes, well, I got to go home to the lovely Henrietta, was his wife, and finish off my birthday. February 25th was his birthday.
What you got?
It's running. Oh, there it is. The
There you
picture at
Mia's
it Mia's?
or-
It was Mia's, right?
There you go. With Ivan Maisel.
Northwest Highway. Ivan
Just
walked in there.
happened to go into Mia's restaurant and saw Jimmy in there. Of course, no one knew what Jerry looked
did.
like then.
You
You know?
took this picture.
No, the Ivan Maisel.
Ivan Maisel got a photographer from the Morning News.
He worked for the
there.
Dallas Morning News then, and that's where the cat really got out of the bag.
Yeah.
It was that picture right there, and so Ivan Maisel, he was the probably college football writer then for the Morning News, right? And so he knew Jimmy very well, and so he sees Jimmy there, and then he sees
He must have been
some guy.
He must have been tailing him.
No,
he just happened to. It was a Friday night.
Friday night,
and he went out to dinner at Mia's restaurant, and there's Jimmy and Jerry right in there.
And the funny
What are
thing
the
was,
odds, man?
that's where Tom liked to go. He loved.
Well, it was a very
Mia's.
popular restaurant,
okay.
you know, and
You didn't eat at
Obviously,
Mia's?
they weren't
Come
trying
on.
to hide too much. Then.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
That's right.
They're like, that's
So,
advertisement.
what did you think when you heard?
Yeah, that's why I asked, where were you 33 years ago today?
I wasn't surprised. And if I'm not mistaken, they had given Tom a few opportunities to retire. And you, of course, would know better than I would. The rumor from the players was Tex Schramm was trying to tell Tom, look, you got to go.
Yes.
Because they're coming. And Tom was just being stubborn. The press conference that he had was really the death nail for him because that's when he said, oh, I might be coaching well into the...
No, what he said is, I got a 3-year plan. And the blood came
Yes.
right out of Tex's
Yes.
face. Like,
Because he just agreed to something. They had an understanding. And then he comes out here and he turns
and
on
I
it.
think he did it. Was it January of '88 or January of '89?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which. But he came out and said he had a 3-year plan.
And
Tex was, and here's the thing:
And Tex had a 3-year plan too, right?
Yeah, right. And here's what they didn't know: so that year at the Super Bowl, so it had been January of '89,
Okay.
'88 season. It was in Miami, if I remember correct. That was the Montana beat Cincinnati,
Bengals.
the
Yeah.
Bengals,
Yeah,
right?
Bengals.
Last minute
I
drive.
always say Bengals.
Anyway, so in the Cowboys Super Bowl box suite, Tom.
I was at that game, by the way.
I was too.
I knew he was going to. I didn't watch the game until the last drive. I knew he was going to score.
I ran down because
I ran down on the field.
I ran down to the press room because
Oh.
I knew I was on
You couldn't
deadline.
make it.
Did y'all
and
see
I
John
said,
Candy there?
I did not see John Candy. He's talking about.
John Candy.
No, I get it.
Candy.
I know exactly what he's talking
That's
about.
what-
I know exactly what
that's
he's
the most
talking
famous
about.
person that
I
was
know
at the
exactly
game,
what he's
right?
talking about.
Right.
No, only because Joe mentioned him in the huddle.
That's
he wasn't
right.
the most famous person at the game. Just Joe saw him in the huddle doing the drive, and he was so cool.
Is that Joe Candy over there?
First of all, my
That's how cool Joe was.
my auxiliary seat was in the stands, and there was a bunch of reporters, media guys, just outwardly cheering for San Francisco, right? I was like, seriously? And I knew what was going to happen, but I was on deadline, so I ran down during the timeout to get to the room so I could watch the last drive. Because I knew
ran down because I
knew
just
it was
wanted to
going to
see it
happen.
with my own eyes. I didn't want to
Right?
see it on TV. I wanted to say I could see it with
Anyway,
my own eyes.
in the Cowboys box, so it was Tex, Tom, Gil Brandt, and their guest that evening was Jimmy Johnson.
So now there was always there.
Tex wanted him
Yes.
as his next head coach.
Yes, he did.
But he didn't have
The
feel
cojones?
yes, that he could tell Tom. He was hoping Tom would step away.
And Tom knew what he wanted him to say.
Right.
But he was being rebellious at that time. And that's the only time I really – no, that's not true. Tom never did pay attention to the NFL rules, like days off. We're supposed to have certain days off. Tom, we got out to Thousand Oaks. He said he's not going to let a bunch of married men have access to Los Angeles and Malibu, on nights off. So he would limit the time that we were supposed to have. So his protocol was totally not NFL protocol. And he was unashamed about it.
He was Bill Parcells before
That's
Bill Parcells.
it. So that was one of the most rebellious
and
things.
guess what? Guess what?
Who was that? Which
Tom
coach?
Landry.
Landry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this came down on Saturday, and I saw the story was the players were supposed to report Monday for the start of off-season training. Weight training or whatever. So, yeah, in February.
Let me say this, and I've always thought this. I thought the 87 strike was really the beginning of the end for all of us. You looked at how the Redskins handled the strike, and that's been made from a documentary. They actually interviewed me in that documentary. When Tom lost the team in 87, he lost the team in 87 because of the strike. Instead of handling it in a way of either we stick together or we all stay apart, he didn't handle it that way. He handled it like the traditional football coach, my way or the highway type of thing. And that wasn't helping us as a team. That's why Washington stayed together. That's why they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. After 87, there was no control on the team. We were divided, union versus non-union. It was almost like the vaccinations. And Tom really didn't address that. He tried to ignore that because I've always thought, and I guess it's no secret, he was really as much a coach as he was management. You understand? I've always thought that.
Right.
And so I think that's when he lost the team. I think that's when Tex lost the team as well. And when you look at it,
do you remember Tex walking out there arguing with you guys?
Come on, man. I was a union rep. I was the one to turn my back on him. So we had in '89. By the time 1990 came, I'm gone. Tex, Tom, Gil. We're all gone. So I just thought that you had to pick a side.
Right.
And
Danny White was gone. Randy White was gone.
Yeah, too tall.
Too tall.
Yeah.
Played one more year. He played that '89 season.
Yep.
That was it. A lot of the guys.
And I thought that it's almost like when you look at I always look at America's Most Wanted, not America's Most Wanted, but American Greed. All the swindlers were doing well until 2009. Right? Because that's when we had the recession. All swindlers, that's when Madoff and all of those guys, that's when they lost everything. Well, the strike itself, that was our divider. That was the one that tore all of us apart. And, of course, I had a part in it, and as well as management had a part in it. So that was one of those defining moments, not just in the NFL, but especially for the Dallas Cowboys, that really led to this date right here. How many years ago was it?
33
years ago today. I think it's a direct connection for me between 87 strike and Tom.
So do you realize you went through the only two sales of the Dallas Cowboys during your career?
I sure did, didn't I?
Because Bum Bright, I believe,
me
bought
and
it
the old guys.
83, 84?
Yeah, it was 84.
84,
84.
right?
Yep.
And then this one, 89.
Yeah.
So did the players
Bum Bright's deal, it didn't affect us at all.
No, because he was
changed.
He wasn't hands-on, right?
But what you did
which
see
he didn't like because he didn't get along with Tom.
Well, and what you saw was everything kind of diminished after that. Our success, wasn't nearly as counted on. We from then on, we just didn't do that well after that team was sold. 85 was our best season.
Right.
With
10-6
with him,
which ended the stretch of the 20-year stretch of
84,
winning seasons.
84 was the end of that.
Yeah,
no, 84 was the end of the playoff stretch. 85 was the last of the 20 straight winning seasons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because as we remember, 6-2 and lost to the Giants in Game 9.
Yeah.
In 86.
And only won one more game in 86, and that ended the winning streak.
I vaguely remember that.
Had the number one offense in the league, tied with the Giants, 6-2, 6-2. Had already beaten them once, and it was the game in New York. Remember all the penalties on that drive?
Paz Derek.
Phil
Paz Derek. We were doing so well.
I'll swear
we
to
had
God.
a screen pass. I mean, everything worked. The runoff tackle, Dorsett is just doing his thing. Like, we're going to win this game. Nope.
And who won the Super Bowl that year?
The Giants never lost another game.
Mm-hmm. And who got the Gatorade shower at the end of the
Bill Parcells.
And who went to Disney World for the first time? The first of the Disney World commercials.
Phil?
Was it Phil?
Was Phil Simms.
Yeah. Phil had a great game.
Yeah. You know the only reason I remember that is because I interviewed, or I didn't remember it. I looked it up the other day because I interviewed Phil Simms the other day. He was in town for the day. I didn't remember. I didn't know that the first of those Disney World, I'm going to Disney World commercials at the end of the Super Bowl was Phil Simms that year.
Wow.
I didn't realize that's where it started until I was doing my research to interview Simms the other day.
I swear the Cowboys might have started that drive at the end, maybe at their own 20, 25-yard line.
Yeah.
They must have gained 140 yards, right? Because they kept going back.
Pushing us back.
Kept going back, and they kept coming down the field.
Boy, that
kept
sounds
coming
kind of
down
familiar
the field,
to this day, right?
All right, quickly, we got to go to break. I got to tell my sister story about when Jerry bought the team. and Jimmy was going to be the coach.
Well, wait, by the way, where were you?
I was working in San Antonio.
Okay.
And I was actually working that night, and of course, Jerry had wanted to tell Tom personally, and Landry was on a golf course in Austin. And so we actually had a camera crew. The word had gotten out, and we had a camera crew in Austin trying to capture footage of Jerry running down Tom or getting reaction from Landry and so forth. I can't remember exactly what happened there. But then Jerry got back to Dallas, to Valley Ranch, for the press conference on Saturday night. But I was working it down there.
See, and the bottom line on that one, too, was Tex told Tom, don't leave town. Something could be going down, and he goes to Austin.
Mm-hmm. Go play golf.
And then he said, no, I'm not bitter. And yes, he was bitter.
Yeah.
I went to that.
And my sister.
That was Doug Williams' Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
80.
And my sister was bitter too.
Yes.
Not because Jerry was buying the team, but and that Jimmy Johnson is going to be our coach. She loved Landry because she's an OU grad and Jimmy's the OSU.
That's right.
They're hiring an OSU coach.
Oh my God! It's always going back to
the Oklahoma protagonist because
so I
kept
said
beating.
I said,
Oklahoma.
yeah. What? Oh, in Miami.
Don't watch it.
Yeah,
Watch it.
He's going to be bitter.
So then I told her, I said, well, you don't like it now, you're really not going to like it because he's about to have the best quarterback in the league because they're about to draft Troy Aikman, too.
Who left Oklahoma.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, so there you go. That's our trip down memory lane 33 years ago today. And we're way past the break, and so we continue with more from Mickey's Legal Pads in a moment.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, Everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860. www.kpostcompany.com.
No one says that. Do they still
The
say
www.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Man. People write that down. I'm like, I don't need.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
what's
that
the
was
email
like-
address? www. Okay, I know.
When did we say WW? I mean, it's going
From
back
the
nearly
beginning.
25 years.
Yeah, from the beginning
and so
they
we
said
kind of
that.
dropped that,
Yeah.
Mickey.
Well, I don't know. I just
I mean,
read
I
what's
wasn't.
there.
No, that wasn't on you because I hear. It just reminded me.
Although
hear a
I
lot
have
of people
edited
say that.
before.
Yeah.
Go to kpostcompany.com.
That's it, man. That is it.
All right, free agency is upon us in a little over 2 weeks.
You want to
basically.
franchise anybody?
Well, how about would Fox like to franchise Troy Aikman?
How about that?
That's crazy, bro.
He,
Is he
He's making moves.
Is he doing it?
I mean,
He's
I
making moves.
haven't
Monday
heard
Night
official
Football?
The report came out here in the last day or so that
last
he's got
scoop of
he's
mashed
mulling-
potatoes.
He's mulling an offer from ESPN. You hear the money on that, Everson?
No.
$17.5 million or something like that.
After a while, man,
Right,
it's just zeros.
Romo's at 18, I think.
Yeah.
After a while, it's just zeros, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, boy, that would sure shore up Monday Night Football, which needs some shoring.
Although I would
But
imagine
the
he's got
games are
to,
good.
he's got to have
Good
a
games.
Yeah.
You have to get good games. I don't care who's coming.
Right.
You don't
he's
have
got
to
to
get
have
That's true. That's
he's
true.
got to have a say of who's the play-by-play guy though. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to get into the situation that Witten got himself in.
Man. No, Witten's problem was not the play-by-play guy. It was the sideline reporter.
Oh.
That's Witten's problem. His name was
Well,
Booger.
it was both
I
of
know
them.
it was both.
Yeah, well, I understand that,
Yeah.
but I know somebody took well advantage of that. Couldn't wait.
So
Stepped in.
I think
fast.
by the way, in 2023, I think they can flex Monday Night Football. So the teams that play on Monday can be flexed into that.
it's like a better game.
Yeah, so they can flex a better game into
well,
it.
that'll help.
Starting I think it's 2023.
That will help.
Yeah.
And I wonder what Joe Buck does then. Does he
That's what I
pull
was
Joe
thinking.
Buck along with him?
If he had a
Because
choice,
Buck can
if he
do
had a
more.
choice, he would.
Because Buck could do more baseball, right? Maybe.
Oh, sure.
With
If he wants to work more.
ESPN, then yeah. Well,
You know who's
that's
happy
true,
about
too.
this? Moose. He might get some more work.
Well, he should.
You know, maybe he will. I mean, that now you've got a elite spot open. Somebody might step in before him, but he'll step into where they were.
And Monday Night
So everybody
Football
gets elevated.
needs a boost because I'll tell you what, and this is just me. I don't know what everybody else did, but if it wasn't a critical game on Monday night, like I needed to watch it for play-by-play, down by down, I turned over to the Manning thing and just listened to them, right? And I don't know if that's going to be a thing in the coming years.
God, I hope not.
You know, they tried to do it with the NBA All-Star game, and I didn't listen to the play-by-play of the NBA All-Star game. I went to the TNT crew?
Wait, you watched the NBA All-Star game?
I watched.
Okay.
I watched.
Did you watch the Pro Bowl?
I watched. I watched the first half.
It wasn't as bad as the Pro Bowl.
I did not watch.
It
the
was
Pro
not
Bowl.
as bad as the
No,
Pro
it
Bowl.
wasn't.
It
It
was
wasn't.
bad.
It can't
but
be
it
as bad
wasn't
as the Pro Bowl.
It cannot be.
I
bad
watched
as the Pro Bowl.
I watched the final quarter of the Pro Bowl
Pro Bowl
to see
would
if
have
they
played
decided
basketball
it's
with their
time to
pants
play.
on.
I gave up on the NBA All-Star game at halftime, which I wish I hadn't because I didn't see the halftime presentation of the 75 players, top 75 in history. So I went back and watched it on YouTube. That was probably the best part. But I'm just wondering if, you know, in some of these night games, if we're just going to sit around and listen to somebody BS and not worry about third and 5.
Well, there's a lot of that going on even as it is. Even on the regular
you're right.
broadcast,
You're
especially
right.
on ESPN. The latest, though, on it, Fox Sports has started negotiations with Sean Payton about becoming its number 1 NFL game analyst. He would team with Joe Buck if and when Troy Aikman finalizes his exit to either Monday Night Football or Amazon's Thursday Night Football.
Well, there goes Moose.
Fox will broadcast 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls. If Peyton succeeds, he'd immediately leap to the top of sports broadcasting, along with Aikman, Romo, Chris Collinsworth.
So what happens with Al Michaels?
Well, that's the other thing. There's talk that maybe Al Michaels would
go to Monday Night
Football,
well,
because there's
Al
talk of him going to
Troy,
Amazon for the Thursday night package. Yep.
Seeing that Thursday night package has not been good.
But this free agency and broadcasting is kind of fun. Did you see the thing about reports maybe that Fox would try to trade for Drew Brees to go to
trade? Oh, well,
because he's on a contract with NBC.
NBC,
so get him over to come to Fox.
What are they going to give up?
I don't know.
The future draft pick?
I have no idea. I was just reading reports. I saw it on social yesterday about trading.
Right. Well, there's another.
We'll give you a couple games.
Another thing going on in free agency, right?
All right. So now what's on your legal pad?
So franchise tag.
Yes.
You want to? Cowboys got 21 unrestricted free agents.
And you got the franchise tag numbers there?
I got them somewhat memorized.
Okay. And so, who would you like to keep that are free agents?
Cooper.
Well, he's not a free agent.
No, he's not a free agent.
Oh, good.
And I'm with you on that.
Gallup.
The wide receiver franchise, and they're not set in stone right now because it's not set until you get the final salary cap number, $17 million on a franchise tag.
Mm-hmm.
And you're already paying one wide receiver 20.
So,
and he's coming off an ACL.
The key thing with him is you just got to hope. Well, not hope. You got to figure out what market value is going to be on a guy coming off an ACL that probably is going to end up being on PUP to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
So my thinking is, and I'm sure the Cowboys are hoping, that somebody's not going to go out and give him a 3-year, $45 million deal because of his injury situation, that he would think, okay, I need to come back on a prove-it deal and get my market value back up to where it should be.
He's a young man.
So he could afford 1 year. If you can get him for 1 year, $5-6 million with incentives, maybe you can sign him. But I think 17 would probably be too much on a wide receiver.
Okay, let's do it this way. Free agents, among the 21 unrestricted free agents, Keanu Neal, he would go into the linebacker. Give me the numbers,
wow,
so that we can figure this out.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Keanu
Neal. I want serious ones.
No, I'm just running down the list just so we can figure this out. Keanu Neal, Leighton Vander Esch would be under the linebacker tag. So you work on what the linebacker tag number is for me.
Okay, here's the ones I have.
Okay.
Because I did it from what would affect the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So the wide receiver franchise tag at this point is 18.5.
So that's for Gallup. You want Gallup at the 18.5 tag?
No, I can't do that.
No.
Tight end, Dalton Schultz, $11 million.
Okay, let's hold that aside. We've got $11 million for Dalton Schultz right here. Okay, keep going.
And then defensive end.
Randy Gregory.
17.5 at this point, but it's being projected closer to $20 million.
Damn.
Okay.
And you've got $20 million base salary on your other defensive end right now.
Okay.
So those are really the only three I wrote down.
Tell me what J-Ron Curse is, because he would be a safety. What's the safety cap? I want to say it's around 12 or 13 million.
I want to say 13.
J-Ron is unrestricted.
Yes. And so
and it would be 13.
I think it's 13 million for a safety. Right. So it's 11 million. So here are your candidates.
Those are really the only guys, right?
Right. Okay. So those are your candidates for a franchise tag. $11 million Dalton Schultz, $13 million J-Ron Kearse, up to $20 million Randy Gregory. So do you feel like you which one would you put the tag on, or would you just not do a tag on anybody?
I would. Here's what I would do.
Not tagged
and this
anyone?
is what
we dismissed Gallup.
Have we ever not tagged anyone? Have
Yes.
we ever not tagged anyone?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
What their philosophy will be is to try to negotiate a long-term deal.
You keep them from going into free agency by tagging them, and then you can still negotiate with them all the way to July.
And so to me, let's just say
We did
Schultz,
that last year.
Schultz, right? $11 million franchise tag. So he knows he's got to make $11 million this year, no matter what if they tag him, right? So
Can I ask what he's making now? What's he making now?
It was a rookie contract as a fourth-round draft pick.
Sure he good regardless.
Yeah, I'll throw another one in there. Brian Anger's the other one, the punter,
Right, and
at
the punter.
$5 million, which is about $5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could kind of qualify that. But here's what you want to do is you want to structure a contract where in the first year, including the signing bonus that you get right away, plus the base salary is going to at least come to $11 million. But with the signing bonus huge, you prorate it over the length of the contract, and you push the money back over the next couple years of the deal when the salary cap's going to go back up significantly next year.
Yes, it is.
Because of the TV contract, right? So I can structure a contract for Schultz that, say he gets a $2 million base salary this year, but I give him a $15 million signing bonus. And then it's divided by, say it's a 3-year deal, so it's 5 each year, so he costs $7 million instead of $11 million. Same thing with Randy Gregory. You got to try to get a long-term deal done where the total in 2022 is going to be at least, what did I say it was? It's probably $20 million. So signing bonus, spread it out over 5 years. Now, can Randy Gregory go fight? He's young, he hadn't played much, but he's 29 going on 30. So that's another consideration that they have to make. And then you mentioned linebacker. So, here's my deal. I keep hearing this, and I don't understand it. It's like cut DeMarcus Lawrence, which, by the way, cutting DeMarcus Lawrence, you will incur $19 million in dead money, either all of it this year or part this year, part next year. And then who's playing defensive end, knowing you don't have Randy Gregory?
What's the strategy in that?
Why are people?
I don't understand, because all they look at is the
silly.
base salary of $19 million and say, okay, we could save No, you don't save $19 million, because you already not only paid them signing bonus, you paid them restructure bonus. You got to restructure the contract.
But to me,
again.
it's about more than just the contract itself.
And who's going to play defensive end?
Exactly, like him.
Because you don't know you're going to get Randy Gregory
Did not
back.
see how he played?
Right, that's my point.
Somebody
You
pointed.
can get any. We can have a financially structured and sound team, but we won't be worth the crap.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Somebody pointed out that his stats went down this year. Yeah, he only played 9 games.
There you
go. Don't, everybody, all you got to do is look, right? Don't just look at stats. Look. This team's
the
problem.
amount of games played.
One of the things this team's problem was in the games they lost was their inability to stop the run, and he was probably their best run stopper on the defensive line. And you're going to say, okay,
there were times when he knew what the play was, and he just came out of position and just blew everything up. I mean, he did that in many strategic ways.
And then I hear, Micah Parsons will be the defensive end. And I go, okay,
now who's
playing linebacker?
Right.
Because Leighton Vander Esch, you may not get a chance to re-sign him. And, oh, by the way, you don't even have Jalen Smith to, punish. So who's playing linebacker? And so you start cutting these guys, and all of a sudden, well, I need a first-round wide receiver. Oh, I need a first-round defensive
end.
Oh, no,
right.
I need a linebacker.
Linebacker now.
I only got one first-round pick. And I don't have money to go out in free agency to go out and find somebody that's really good. And, we do need to improve that offensive line. So that's why I hate this time of year, because people don't give out the entire facts of the whole deal. They will create money by restructuring Dak's contract. It's already planned. It's just when they execute it.
Well,
because they put a phony, voidable year in 2026 because they knew they were going to have to restructure his $20 million base salary this year. They'll go down to $2-3 million, right? And then pay him upfront, restructure so he gets his money before he works, and spread it out over 5 years. That's why they put the voidable 2026 year in his contract so they could have 5 years to spread it out. And then when you get to that, and everybody's going, well, now you're just pushing your money down the road. Well, you've pushed it down the road when the salary cap's going to go up.
That's right.
And it'll absorb it. So there.
I'd push everything down the road if that's the case, because I hear the contract is going to be amazing. Another amazing TV contract.
I mean, they already know it is, but it doesn't go into effect this year. So those are the three guys. And the other thing on the defensive end, by the way, my third defensive end, Dorrance Armstrong, is an unrestricted free agent. So
how's your depth there?
Not real good. It's Chauncey Golston and Terrell Basham.
You know, all
that
these
doesn't
guys,
get me excited.
Well, when you look at all these guys, they all played well at some point. It's just when we needed them to play well, they didn't play well.
Exactly.
So we can always say, well, man, Dorrance Armstrong had a great game here, great game there. Well, he didn't have the great game when we needed them to have it. And that's almost everyone on the team. So that's what you're looking at, is the sour taste that's left in everyone's mouth from the last few games and that horrible ending. But then you look before that to get us to that point, to get us to, what were we, 12-4?
12-5.
We're 12-5? So, yeah, that's right, 17 games. Well, to get us to 12-5, that's where you saw the superlatives. But we didn't continue with that as we went down the stretch. That's the problem.
And the thing I printed out that I didn't get was my column for today. And it was basically, we've given the defense a pass, right, because of the things they improved on from last year. But in critical times, the defense wasn't good enough. Like in the games they won, they averaged giving up 18 points a game. In the 6 games they lost, including the playoff game, they gave up 27 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me throw this at you, and we got to get it. We don't have enough time here.
I know.
We've got to get to a break. But, all right, Chris Beam, our producer, passed along to me from Spotrac the market value on some of these free agents, okay?
And that's projected.
Projected market value. So for Randy Gregory, okay, his market value as a free agent, they put in the range, they compare him with Zadarius Smith, Leonard Floyd, Preston Smith, Olivier Vernon, who are basically in the range of the average is basically a 3-year, $48 million contract.
Mm-hmm. So 17 million a year.
Right.
Is that right?
Right, something like that. Okay, on a long,
16 would be 48, right?
Out on the open market. Let me see if I can quickly get back to.
But see, I'm not paying 16 this first year,
right,
on the cap.
Right. Michael Gallup is in the market, I believe, around 4 years, $45 million, something like that.
But that's when you put the 11. Injury. But when you put the injury,
so what they're doing
right,
is they're just multiplying off this franchise tag.
Yeah, but they have examples of other.
You're right.
They have examples of other players
yes,
who have gotten
I got you.
That deal last year, I guess. And then Dalton Schultz was in the 4-year, $50 million range, which is around let me find it here.
12 and a half million.
Yeah, which is what the franchise tag for the tight end, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, in free agency, there's like 8 other tight ends out there that you would say, I want that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying they're not going to say they don't want Dalton Schultz, but the tight end
good tight ends out there.
Market is stacked.
And even backups.
Yes.
You got some great backup tight ends that are out there. So, and we have a good backup tight
end. And Jarwin, which you just gave 3 years, $20 million to
right.
a couple of years ago. So
he's just got to make sure he gets himself healthy.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And that's the thing on Gregory. Okay, how much can you depend on him from? Not even from an injury standpoint. I mean, his production tailed off the last half of the year, and there was mistakes on the field as well. So
like defensive holding.
Yeah. In critical time.
Twice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We continue with more Mick Shots in a moment.
Last shot.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to Mick Shots.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you'll see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Nice.
All right. See more, do more from your legal pad. What do you got?
Two really quick things. And I used this in Mick Shots on Wednesday. I heard 2 interviews on Wednesday that if I'm drafting these guys without even looking at their film. One was Sam Roberts, who was named the Cliff Harris Small College Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Northwest Missouri State. He's a defensive end. He's 6'5", 292, and all I did was listen to him talk.
What's his name again?
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts.
And he played in the Hula Bowl, East-West Shrine Bowl, Division II.
Yeah.
And so that's what the award's for, Division II, Division III, NAIA, right? And just listening to him.
I Googled him. He's a Canadian rock singer, Sam Roberts.
Listening to his story.
Common name.
So
radio personality also named Sam Roberts.
So
actor,
self-serving. I went up to him after it was because he's from Waynesville, Missouri, and I went up to him afterwards and I said, "How did Missouri not like at your size and speed
and proximity?
Why didn't they bring you in?" And he had a really good answer. Not bitter. He said, "My high school was next. Basically." The enrollment is a lot of the kids from the military base. I believe it's Fort Leonard Wood is right next to it, Leonard Wood. And he said coaches don't come down to look at my high school because they figure these guys are leaving, so I'll never see them 2 years in a row because of their military family.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he was really. And just listening to him, I said, and Brad Sham leaned to me when we were listening to him talk, right? And he goes, "That's my 7th round pick right there." He goes, and I have never seen him play a down, but just the character, right? The other one. The ticket the next day after the Davey O'Brien Award did about a 20-minute interview with Bryce Young, the quarterback at Alabama. Oh, my gosh. Again, I'm not looking at him as his tape. I listened to him for 20 minutes, and I'm going, this kid's 20 years old, and he's got it figured out already?
Sounds like Russell Wilson.
Yes. Unbelievable, his answers.
I wonder what somebody would have said about me at 20 years old.
Well, I was thinking about myself.
I don't even know what I would have said.
Right? So check
probably
this
would have
out.
Said, yes, sir, a lot. That's about it.
He had to be to the Davey O'Brien Award, I think, by did you guys cover?
It was Monday. Yeah, and he was not. He was catching a flight or something. He wasn't there when we were out there at 5 o'clock.
Here's what happened. He finished his workout and meeting in Tuscaloosa. So that's Eastern time, I believe. And he said he left there like at 5:30, 6 o'clock, flew to Fort Worth, flew into here, did the award.
He left at 5:30 in the afternoon for a 7 o'clock banquet here?
Well, it'd be 8 because of the time difference, right?
It's not a time difference.
Tuscaloosa's not Eastern?
It's Central.
Okay, well then he got here right in, well, that's why you missed him, because he got here in time for the award.
Wow. Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's Central?
Yeah.
And then,
I did not know that.
Then he left and went back, got to bed like at 1:30 in the morning, and was up the next day for class and then his meeting. So one of the guys asked him, so Coach Saban, you won the Heisman, you won the Davey O'Brien Award. Is he going to just let you out early? And he started laughing. He goes, you don't know Coach Saban, do you? He goes,
crazy.
Not at all, not at all. And he went on to explain that I've got to take care of what I got to do to make me available to win awards like this, right? And he goes, and everybody at Alabama buys in on this. It's like, you take care of this first, and that gives us opportunity to win, and that gives us opportunity to go to awards banquets.
That's assuming that you win a lot of awards.
Right. And it's just amazing how he handled it. And then he went in, they asked him about the NIL stuff, and you know, supposedly he got a big deal.
Saban said at a touchdown club in Houston,
$1 million,
I think that is
right?
$1 million.
Yeah. And he answered it like Coach Saban says, and you know, when we get out in the real world, we all don't get paid the same. And he goes, but no one talks about it. Everybody just does their job the way they're supposed to do the job, and the payoff is you're successful. And just the way he handled himself, it's like, I'm drafting the guy. I want him on my team.
It worked out.
But when he said that about Coach Saban, you guys don't know Coach Saban, right? Which reminded me of when Troy Aikman was going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the induction ceremony. Jason Garrett was his quarterback coach at Miami, the Dolphins. And Jason wanted to go to the deal, but they had practice on that Saturday. And he goes, I finally worked up enough nerve to go into Coach Saban's office and ask if I could go. And he goes, I was dreading it. I was just sweating. I was dreading it. And he goes, and he went in and he made this, he said, I made this long presentation on why I need to go. And he said, Saban looked at him and he goes, Jason, do you think we can't have practice without you on Saturday?
Just go, man. What are you wasting my time for?
But everybody knows him, right? And they know how he's a stickler for detail, and it kind of works.
So one thing I know.
I got 2 draft choices already, but he's not eligible
for
this
Bryce
year.
Young
Yeah.
next year.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, so you're proposing that the Cowboys
7th round pick.
No, for Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
Next year. 'Cause I'm assuming he's going to be a first-round pick.
I'm assuming
You're
he's gonna
proposing
be
the Cowboys tank this year?
No, I just
Is that what you're
said.
saying? You said you wanted him to draft him. He's going to be at the top of the draft.
If I was drafting and I needed
you want the
a
Cowboys to
quarterback,
make a trade this year and acquire somebody's first-round pick.
When he was coming out.
Yeah,
this season.
right.
Hey, guys, do you realize how many Sam Roberts there are? Have you looked at them all? You got the football player, Northwestern Missouri. You got baseball player, Sam Roberts, 2017. Sam Roberts track and field results. Sam Roberts men's tennis. Sam Roberts associate head coach and recruiter.
There's some sort of singer
Sam Roberts
or actor.
college and minor league statistics history. Sam Roberts. Oh my God, how many freaking Sam Roberts? And they're all relevant. They're not just any type of guy.
So there you go. There's another reason why you should
them,
draft him in the seventh round. Because he's going to be relevant. He's not going to be Mr. Irrelevant. You're not going to have the last pick.
That's right.
All right. Okay, I think we've done
it?
We filled up another show. And guess what we get to talk about next week on Mixed Shots, Mickey?
Offseason.
The Combine will
Combine
be on
will
our way.
have started on the 1st, right?
That's right.
And we're about the 2nd or 3rd.
And we'll be previewing it, basically. The NFL Network coverage would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever.
Oh, I missed it.
I guess that means I'm going to have my big green notebook
and
here next week.
Here's 2 quick shots. Number 1, we're talking about paying guys. Anthony Hitchens, Cowboys couldn't afford him.
Yep.
Kansas City said they could with a $45 million deal, and now they can't afford the last year, so he's a free agent. Would he like to come back here on a 1-year deal? I need a veteran linebacker,
I could
right?
use that.
And then the other one I thought was funny that Wade Phillips' son, Wes, is going to Minnesota as their offensive coordinator, although the head coach is going to be the offensive coordinator, but made me think of, was it 2017, 2018, when everybody wanted to sign an assistant coach that worked with Sean McVay, and Wade Phillips said, hey, my son knows Sean McVay too, right? He could be a head coach. And now he's an offensive coordinator.
That's cool.
And all those guys, there's like 5 of McVay's assistants now.
That's a fast track to being a head coach in this league. You don't have even. Look at the offensive coordinator at San Francisco is now the head coach at Miami.
And
Shanahan's the one.
And Shanahan's running it, right? And O'Connell going to Minnesota, head coach, and McVay runs the offense, right? So, but
Zach Taylor was at with the Rams with McVay, and he wound up in the Super Bowl as a head coach.
I don't think Zach Taylor even shaves yet. Does he shave?
And they had another. They had another guy ended up the University of Arizona as the head coach. He was just an assistant. Mm-hmm. So he's had a lot of guys move on. But if you know Sean McVay, you got a shot.
He's the Sean McVay coaching tree.
Wade Phillips is just funny as hell.
All right, how come you? Never mind.
How come we got another 5 minutes?
No, let's go.
Okay, that does it for this edition of Mixed Shots, and we'll talk at you again next week.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!